If you're watching on prisonplanet.tv, you see what looks like a cryptic photo of the Penn State coach, and the headline, "New shock charges in Penn State case." And that was what I was about to get to next. What did I say on Monday and Tuesday when people asked me about this and called in? I said, the Texas Youth Commission, it came out that they had gladiatorial fights with the older kids, with all the elitists coming in all over the state and watching them fight, in some cases with weapons in boxing rings. That was in the news, but then it all got shut down. And that government officials, big donors, rich people, judges, and see what happens is once they know you're a pedophile and you've done this publicly with the elites, now they can promote you into the power structure because they know they can destroy you anytime they want. And it turns out the police knew about this more than 15 years ago. I have the timeline right here. And it turns out 9 years ago there was a grand jury dealing with this, and it was always shut down until now. This is being brought out now to threaten the entire power structure, just like the Herman Cain thing. They always give you sex scandals and missing, dead interns and all of this right before wars. As a huge distraction, tailor-made. They've got all these sex scandals right there. They kept it quiet as the victims continue to mount. And who was it? Disadvantaged children getting to go to the Penn State with the coaches who were going to mentor them. That's what this country's run by. I keep telling you, it's run by pedophile rings. How many Republicans get caught in bathrooms with other men? They go to Bohemian Grove on record and have sex with each other. Vanity Fair snuck in there years after I did and found the same thing. People magazine. That's what goes on there. Richard Nixon told Harper's Magazine it's the most GD, faggy thing you'll ever see. You can pull up Richard Nixon on Bohemian Grove. Harper's got accused after he died of, back in the 70s interview, that they'd made up that because they didn't publish the rest of it until after he died. And they just said, oh, here's the audio of Nixon. God, the Bohemian Grove. Yeah, they're at San Francisco and then up north of there. I'll tell you what goes on there. It's unbelievable. I went for political power, but it's terrible. Listen, why do you think they want sex education of fifth graders? And I've seen the books. I mean, federally, they're trying to pass it now that it has to be taught everywhere, where they actually teach 5- and 6-year-olds with books showing 2 men kissing, 2 women kissing, a man and a woman kissing. I mean, 5-year-olds aren't even thinking about sex. 10-year-olds aren't even thinking about it. You think the feds pay for a decade to put cameras in school bathrooms and in girls' showers? And they with a straight face go, well, we're the government. We can watch your naked daughters. And they share it all over the country. That's come out in the news. This, at the top, it's a bunch of criminals. And the most common group is pedophiles. Then it's closeted gay men, so they can use that on them. Then it's just hardcore sadists, and then just mercenaries that want money. But it is a legion of evil, a legion of doom. And by the way, tonight, I'm going to do a report, and then we'll air it tomorrow here on the radio, where we're going to give you a bunch of examples. Mainstream articles about Bohemian Grove, about the gay sex orgies, about the gay porn stars flown in as the private jets land and disgorge them, taking them in limos right into the world leaders, mainly Republican leaders. You wonder why every Republican that ever gets the nomination wants big government, gun control, open borders? Because, ladies and gentlemen, they're compromised. Again, people ask, how does this evil get away with it? Once people get into positions of incredible power over billion-dollar organizations, be it universities, government, major corporations, over institutions, they knowingly engage in crimes and get others involved who just know, like the head coach and the president and others of the university, so then they can compromise them on every issue. It's called a corruption. It's not corruption, a corruption, a corrupting. Okay? And it turns out the police knew about this 15 years ago and covered it up. Of course they did. Of course they did. I mean, listen, if I was a coach and I walked into the shower and I saw somebody raping a 10-year-old child, number one, I would stomp the living hell out of them, excuse me. I mean, believe me, ladies and gentlemen, who wouldn't? I'm not some macho guy. It's clobbering time. That guy's going to have a broken jaw and his nose is going to be hanging off. I'm going to have blood coming out of my fist. I'm going to be hitting him so hard I'm splitting my knuckles. So I don't understand it. I mean, I walk into a shower, somebody's got a 10-year-old bent over, raping them. I mean, I am going to stomp the daylights out of you. I am going to, I mean, I'd be uncontrolled. I guarantee you, once I got you on the ground, you're going to get stomps. I mean, you're going to get stomped. Stomped from the feet right up to the head, like a kangaroo. Boom, 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 boom. It's, oh, yeah, you're probably not going to live. And so the issue here is that's what my instinct says. That's my gut. I walk around a corner into a shower and somebody's raping a kid. You're going to be lucky if I don't kill you. Okay? The fact that for, I don't know, what's 94 to 2011? How many is that, 16 years? 17 years? How long is it? 17 years. And this shows how corruption works, how in mobs of people, I'm sure a very small percentage of them were involved in the raping of children. But they knew, and then for the system, they cover it up. And that's how the big mega banks work, stealing tens of trillions. That's how derivatives work. That's how this plausible deniability works. That's how this corruption works, where the average citizen doesn't put their inspection sticker on a half-inch to the right spot. You get the book thrown at you. Or citizens do things that really aren't even illegal but are regulatory, go to jail. And the system throws the book at us, microphones in the lamps post, listening to us, face scanning cameras, total corruption, and the Attorney General's on record perjuring himself about shipping guns into Mexico and bringing drugs into the U.S., and Janet Napolitano's been caught doing it. They've all been caught doing it. And I understand people who aren't evil find this hard to believe because you're naive. Good people have a blind spot. Believe me. But you got to grow up sometime. You know what I mean? Because being naive, thinking it's cool to be naive, behaving like that is what allows a Nazi Germany or a Soviet Russia or a communist China or an authoritarian Pol Pot or Ceausescu or any of these scum. People think they can decide to not believe something. I have people tell me that all the time. Intelligent people, they go, I choose not to believe that. And I go, but look at the facts. I'm not looking at it. I hear what you're saying. I just can't believe that. And it's the same thing I've talked about in criminology. I study criminology a lot because it's a window into human activity. And all of us are a little criminal at some level. It's called sin. It's called aberrant behavior. All of us, you know, have some type of bad side. Just with some people, it's all they are. And people always go, he was such a nice old man, when they find 25 bodies buried in their basement. Or she was such a nice lady, when they find, you know, dead kids buried in her basement or whatever. People can't ever believe this. And when you get a big institution like a university, when you get a big institution like a big church, or international church, or you get a big institution like the Boy Scouts, or a big institution like the state police, or a big institution like the local police, or a big institution like a college, or the federal government, you create a system where smart criminals and deviants know they can get away with things, because once they have power in that position, people are scared to go after them. They can corrupt other people by just letting them know about it, and then now they're accessories. And they know that the system is geared towards defending that power structure. But in the final equation, I haven't really covered this because it is a distraction. War with Iran is imminent. A lot of people are trying to stop it from happening. Now it's admitted Israel plans to hit them at the beginning of next month. They've backed it off. That may not happen, but I've got the stack of news, British news, U.S. news, Israeli Knesset saying, the green light's on, we're doing it. That, I mean, folks, do you know what's going to happen if Iran is attacked? They're going to shut down the Strait of Hormuz. Oil prices will probably double or triple. Some estimates are 5 times what they are now. Iran has now come out and said they will strike all over the world. They have said that they will strike all over the world with asymmetrical special forces teams. Every major government trains troops to do this, sleeper cells. And the globalists won't have to stage any terror attacks. They'll be able to take everybody's liberties, distract you from the big banks raping everybody, all the corruption, the cashless society, mark of the beast stuff, because they start a war with Iran. Iran strikes back with guerrilla warfare. And now you know why they're getting the highway checkpoints ready. And now you know why they're getting all this prepared. And even the Jerusalem Post, Haaretz, have reported that Netanyahu wants this war so he'll get politically reelected. And the neocons have told Obama, get behind this war and you'll get reelected. We'll leave you alone. What do you think Obama's going to do with Fast and Furious on his tail? Shipping the guns into Mexico, the drugs back into the U.S. Oh, yeah, that's in several big papers, Chicago Tribune, El Paso Times, not getting national coverage. The Attorney General Holder blamed the Second Amendment. He said, pass gun control, and this won't happen anymore. Mexico has a total gun ban. Our government shipping the guns in. He blames our Second Amendment for what he did. I told you he'd do that. So, for all of you out there that wonder about conspiracies and wondered about corruption and wonder about evil, here's another example of how they kept the Manhattan Project secret for 5 years, with hundreds of thousands involved. How they kept Gulf of Tonkin secret that it was a staged government event for 40 years. How they kept the Tuskegee experiment, shooting black men up with syphilis, secret for 40 years. They decided to tell you. How all this stuff, they just throw it in your face. Operation Northwoods was kept secret for decades. And this was known by the FBI, by the state police, by the grand juries since the mid-90s, and was in grand jury in 2002. This was known. This was known and never in the national news because it wasn't time to bring it out right now. Congress is being told, you will destroy your political careers, you will let the super Congress bankrupt America, you will bring in the world government, you will set up the TSA checkpoints, or we know about that cocktail waitress you dated 20 years ago, Congressman, and we're going to bring up the photos and everything to your wife, and we got her ready to come forward. Here's the photographs. But that's the ones that aren't that bad. There's very few like Ron Paul who've done nothing. So then who lived really pious lives. Then they go to others and they say, you like to go to those parties with the 5-year-olds? You like to get those videos, the snuff film videos? Senator, you do exactly what we say, or this is going to be released right now. And don't think we won't do it. Look at our other operations. Hey, back when you were in Congress, that intern died in your office. Don't worry. Come to work for us, and we'll take care of you. We'll give you a job on MSNBC. Hey, Gov, we know a lot more than just about your hookers. You want a job on MSNBC? Hey, you can join us or we'll destroy you. How's that sound? Okay? Now steal all the pension funds. We'll be right back. Tell them that God's gonna cut them down. You know, the fact that I'm still alive, the fact that I'm on so many AM and FM stations, the fact that this show is so popular, the fact that there are so many good people that post our stories and have come to our aid shows that there is still a lot of good people in this world. In fact, we are the majority. Doesn't mean we're perfect, but our hearts are right. We love God. Like King David did a lot of bad things. He wasn't perfect. But he repented, and he was a good man at heart, and God said, you're a man after my own heart. And we need to not be naive and recognize, as a society, just how corrupt things have gotten. If you've studied history, folks, then you see the signpost. And I've been a novice historian, and let me tell you, when you know history and you see what's happening, it's like, danger, I just got chills, literally. Danger, Will Robinson. Mike Adams sent me a text the other day and said, you know, I feel a disturbance in the force. He said, I've never felt this much anxiety about what's going on. Times in the past when I had anything near this bad stuff happened. Well, they're trying to start World War III potentially. I mean, it's crazy. We've allowed criminals to get into positions of power everywhere and recruit more crooks. They want the power. Good people don't want it. That's the problem. We have to be the light and the salt in the world. And we have to not be naive.